The group known as Youth Demand covered the inside and the outside of the building in red paint. They claim that they are the party that are complicit, Labour is, in what they've described as the murder of Palestinians in the Gaza conflict.
So loony lefties, or do they have a point, and what might they do next? Who better to tell us than Charlie Peters, our reporter who broke the story of how Youth Demand came about last week. This is Labour paying a price here for its stance on war in Gaza, refusing to back an unconditional ceasefire.
And you've just heard the Youth Demand position on that stance. But they're more than just a pro-Palestinian group. They're also an environmentalist outfit. They take on what they describe as two concurrent genocides. They say they're campaigning against activism in the Rosebank in Scotland to the West Bank in Palestine.
Rosebank being the oil field.
That's right. So they're campaigning against Tory oil licences, using their languages, and they're also campaigning against a two-way arms embargo on sales to Israel. But I can reveal that in the next hour, I anticipate that the next action from Youth Demand will occur. So they struck yesterday at Labour Party HQ. They won't say where they're going to do something today, but they have told me in the last 10 minutes that their actionists, as they describe their activists, will be conducting another protest on the streets of London in the next hour.
Got a hunch?
I think central London. I think it could be. We saw Labour being hit yesterday.
The Tory
it could be the Tory party today. They are very specific when they mention the Tory oil licences in their campaigning, so it could be the same again. And I have to stress that every time I speak to activists from Youth Demand, the group that we revealed last week, they always stress how they feel as though democracy has failed, and they don't think that they can vote their way out of what they describe as these concurrent and ongoing crises. So they say that the only way to deal with it is that kind of behaviour.
Saying, people were listening on the radio, they actually were inside the Labour Party HQ too with great red spray guns.
Like a fire extinguisher of
and they're causing huge damage. It's going to be quite an expensive bill for Labour.
I would just be so ashamed if that was my young 20-year-old or whatever they are. What an utter disgrace. Look, that's just pure criminal damage. Did anybody get arrested for this, Charlie?
Yeah, 11 arrests yesterday. But as far as I understand, the group is made up of low hundreds of numbers of activists. So there could be a fresh round, a fresh cell sent out today for that next demonstration.
Honestly. Let's talk to Lord Walney now, former Labour MP, government's advisor on political violence and disruption, and friend of the show. Good to see you again, Lord Walney. What's your response? I had a very emotional response watching those activists destroy the inside of that building, the damage that they cause. What's your response?
Yeah, the level of criminal destruction is depressing, and I think we have to be careful as broadcasters, as politicians, as commentators, not to end up amplifying what is on one level pretty basic criminal damage. And I think there is a risk actually that we can talk about this in excited tones and they're going to strike next and end up having GB News and other channels as essentially a microphone, a loudhailer for this pretty unedifying far left group. So I think that's one thing to be mindful of. It's interesting that this, my understanding, and your correspondent has done some good work on this. Has shown the move of what is essentially an environmental group into campaigning for Palestine, and that shows firstly the level of interchange on the far left, I think, between the militant environmental campaigning and the Gaza protests. And also, I think it shows a level of cynicism from these environmental campaigners who have been, I think, frustrated that their actions in blocking roads have not been getting the publicity that they hoped that it would because of the dominance of the Gaza protests in recent months, that they have essentially moved on to that turf to try to get a look in through combining
Interesting, to piggyback that attention.
But Lord Walney, do you think, can they go too far? Is that what they've done today? Did you just say, was it too much, too extreme?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we need to be really firm as a country at all levels, at the political level, in the way that the public discuss this, that whatever your strength of feeling about a cause, stepping into criminality and vandalism is not acceptable, and that we need more of a focus on how to change the law through the ballot box and be proud of the parliamentary democracy that they have, and not buy into this fake far left narrative which says, oh well, all democracy is irredeemably corrupted and therefore we've got to take matters into our own hands.
Yeah,
that's not acceptable.
I just want to put your point to Charlie Peters here. Are you amplifying this and sensationalising it and giving them publicity that, frankly, could be have a negative impact for all of us?
Sure. Well, when we revealed this new alliance, this group last week between Palestine Action and this Just Stop Oil spin-off, it didn't appear that the police or ministers were aware of this group. So I'd push back on a view that perhaps we're amplifying it, more that actually we're revealing this group where many critics are saying that insufficient action has been taken to counter these groups and actually to get proactive and preemptive with policing to infiltrate these groups, which have sprung up out of the ground very suddenly. I mean, this organisation didn't really exist until the middle of the last month, and it's only by virtue of investigating left-wing online spaces that we were able to reveal that. Well, the funding is very interesting. We do know that a lot of these activists, certainly the ones that I've met on the street, are young students, so there's no doubt they're revealing student finance to subsidise their activities in the middle of the week to kind of
be funding their university education.
Well, precisely, but a lot of them that I've spoken to have kind of delayed studies in order to come out and take part in these protests. One of the people who was outside of Labour Party HQ yesterday was an Oxford University student. I spoke to another one who was studying critical theory at Leeds. So
thought these people were supposed to be clever.
They're middle class, they're well off. Many critics say they're extremely entitled. Others are saying that they are anti-democratic vandals. But one thing is for sure, is they are not getting the level of police oversight that many critics expect they should.
Well, they're trying to put meaning in their otherwise meaningless lives, it seems, doesn't it? And causing disruption in the way. Lord Walney, thank you so much for joining us. I'm afraid we're short of time this morning. And Charlie Peters as well, thank you so much. It is a dilemma for us as broadcasters, isn't it, how much publicity you give to that?
Yeah, but if they're a campaigning group, we've got a job to tell people about them. We need to do. That's our job.
And where are the police? Get there, arrest them, bang them.